Okay, thoughts on Texas this week. Probably the first thing that comes to mind, last home game, senior day. Got 20 seniors. Interesting class, really. We got, of the 20 seniors, 10 of them are high school guys and 10 of them are transfers, which, over the course of the last 4 years, as all you guys are aware of, that's kind of been our thing, as we get a bunch of good high school kids in here and develop them, over the course of 4 or 5 years, and then add a bunch of transfers to it as well, whether they're 4-year guys or grad transfers or junior college transfers. This class has got a mix of all of them. So, everything we do this week be about those guys and getting them a victory on Saturday to close out their career. A lot of them won a lot of games, over the last, whether it's transfers over the last 2 years or guys like, Al Benton and Eli Wellman, who are fifth-year guys that have been to, 4 straight bowl games and helped us win a lot of games. So those guys mean a lot to me, and it makes me want to coach harder this week and prepare harder this week and get ourselves in positions to be able to win the game on Saturday. So should be a good deal. Is what it is, noon, that it is what it is. We should be used to that. Everybody should have a routine by now. I know I do, getting over to the Marriott at the specific time that we get there and waking up at the same time. We'll be ready to roll. Texas coming in, put everybody on high alert on this 5-5 thing. We're sitting here at 7-3 with 3 losses, the top 15 teams or whatever it is. There ain't no different. I mean, those guys have lost close games to the likes of Southern Cal and Oklahoma State and TCU. Last time I checked, those guys were all in the top 15 too, right? So they've done pretty much what we've done. They've beat teams and then they've lost some close games to really good football teams. So they got new stuff going on. We know they got a new coach and, changing some things up with schemes and coaches and culture and all that good stuff. But the thing that looks the same to me, and I've competed against Texas, coached against them for the better part of about 15 years now, is they always have the best players, period. Regardless of the position, they always have the best players, and this team's no different. Looking back at a lot of the guys that Coach Strong recruited there and played them as true freshmen, which was a lot the last 2-3 years, all those guys aren't freshmen anymore. All those guys are juniors and seniors and have got a lot of starts under their belt and has got a lot of experience under their belt. So they're good. They're a good football team that's getting better. Talk about offensively, don't know about their quarterback situation. We're all aware of it. Buechele's the guy we faced last year, throws it all over the place, has got a history of being able to throw the ball, and does a great job of that. Ellinger's the young kid, that bigger guy that they run a lot, and was very, very, very effective. So it's kind of a little different situation than last year or last week, where regardless of what quarterback was going to be out there, is going to be about the same thing. These guys are both capable of hurting you in their own kind of way. Buechele will run it, but he's more of a thrower, and Ellinger can throw it, but he's more of a runner. So we got to be on guard when it comes to that. Expecting both to play, going to prepare for both. Running back wise, they got 4 guys everybody would want. 2 of them are true freshmen. 2 of them are experienced guys, and Porter and Warren that we know a lot about. Hand it to any of them, we better be able to get them on the ground. They be able to roll them in there and keep them fresh. Got 4 guys that can carry the load, can do what they want. A lot of receivers, all 6'3", 6'4", fast, tall, talented, experienced, can throw it to any of them, and any of them can hurt you. Then big and physical up front. So they're getting better. They're getting better, and it's going to be a huge challenge for our defense. Their defense, probably the best defense we've faced all year. Got you know, just a whole bunch of talent. All guys that we've faced in the past, a couple of new guys, but they're not just rolling a whole bunch of freshmen out there because they got a new coaching staff. They got a lot of experience. I'm looking at, you know, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 juniors, about 5 seniors on this 2 deep. They're experienced. All the guys that we've faced, and they're getting better. Well coached. Todd Orlando does a great job. You know, he's an old Northeast guy. Grew up here in Pittsburgh, and really familiar with him and what he's accomplished as a defensive coordinator. Does a great job, and you know, their scheme's challenging. You know, they'll play a lot. They're very, very, very multiple. They can do a lot of different things in the secondary. They can hit you with a ton of different blitzes, and they can play about 25 different people as well. So got our work cut out for us offensively. It's the best defense we've faced. Special teams-wise, best punter I've ever seen. This kid from Australia, the Dixon kid, it's unreal now. I mean, that dude, he can get it off as fast as he wants to get it off. He can kick it any different way he wants to, sideline, field, rugby. Gets upwards of about 5 seconds hang time, which is unheard of. Dude needs to go pro right now. He's just a junior, but he needs to hurry up and get his degree and go pro. He's that good. You know, and then you know, going into this, looking at all the crossover tape when watching all the special team stuff over the last 10 weeks, every time I was watching our opponent, I was noticing Texas showing up. So they do a great job with their special teams. And anytime you have those kind of specialists coupled with a 2 deep situation with a lot of players, you're going to be pretty good at it. Their coverage unit's spectacular. I mentioned the punt team. I mean, he's averaging 50 yards a punt, and their net's about 46. That leads the country. And then they got fast guys that are running down the field, so it's tough. Their kickoff's the same thing. I mean, they do a great job putting the ball in the end zone when teams do happen to come out with it. Got a whole bunch of 4-2 guys running down there stopping the ball. And then the return units are good. Do a great job of holding up on their punt team and their kickoff return team. A lot of talent and guys back there that can do something with the ball once you get it. So I think you guys can tell from my tone, so to speak, that this will be a challenging game and a challenging week, and thrilled about it. Thrilled about it. Should be a great way to close the season out, and you know, hopefully get our seniors a win that they'll remember for a long time.
Danny, you said best defense you faced, and you faced some really good defenses. So, key for you guys when you face another really good defense, you got to run the ball well. What is it you think you have to do?
My biggest thing from last game to now is just consistency. I don't care who we play. I mean, we got capable guys on offense to be able to move the ball, and that's regardless if we want to focus on handing the ball off to the running backs or doing a good job of protecting and throwing the ball downfield or getting into screen game, RPOs, things that come out of our hands quick. We'll make good decisions and put it in play. We can do that against anybody. We've played good teams, as you've mentioned. We've played good defenses, as you've mentioned, and we've been successful. It just needs to happen on a more consistent level.
Dane, if they get Connor Williams back, what kind of impact could that have on this game?
Good player. He's a good player. I mean, you're talking about a top 5 pick that's an All-American and all that stuff. I mean, we got good tackles too. How is that going to change the game? I don't know how it's going to change the game. They're expecting all their guys to block, are they not? You play with more than one. I don't think they're going to hand it to him. I doubt he's going to throw it. Maybe they'll run a screen and throw it to him. I don't know. He's a good player. Glad he's healthy and he's going to be able to play.
Looking at linebacker play, I mean, Malik Jefferson obviously is their main guy. How would you compare Al Rashid and David's play for you guys, importance to them?
Very comparable. They're 5 inches shorter.
Dana, facing two quarterbacks, or at least the threat of two, you've had that a couple times, including this week. You didn't really know who you were going to face at Kansas State. Does that make things difficult in the scout?
Quarterback-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, Coach. I mean, just, and we talked about this last week with Kansas State. I didn't view it as a huge problem. I mean, there's anxiety when you don't know for coaches. Trust me, there's anxiety with coaches for a lot of different reasons. But when it really doesn't change them too much, it's hard. When it changes play calls, that makes it more difficult. I mean, we got a couple of days of practice, right? and you're pretty limited with your time. I mean, I don't know how many reps you guys think we can go out there and practice for, but it's not nearly as much as we want as coaches. It's not nearly as much as we used to have in the past. There's player time involved here. We only get them for about 2 hours a day, so it makes it hard because you just don't have as much time. I mean, preparing for one team a week is about what we do. When they have multiple coaches with multiple schemes, it makes it a little bit more challenging.
Dan, you've been around the Big 12 for a long time. Why do you think the culture developed into a passing culture in this conference more so than other conferences? Is it the Wild West attitude maybe of schools, or?
Yeah, started. I guess it probably started with Leach, did it not? I mean, a long time ago, 2000. I was a part of that. That was kind of the first. He was at Oklahoma in '99. Started throwing it around a good bit, and that's kind of where it started. And he had success. Had a lot of success. Filled that stadium for about 8-9 years straight. Won a lot of ball games. Coaches moved on, like myself, and got jobs at other Big 12 universities. So they just kept doing it, kept recycling them. I mean, if you look at it, Tech's still doing it, and TCU's got one of those guys, and Oklahoma State had one of those guys. Oklahoma's got one of those guys. I mean, it's just that's where they're all at, And the other part of that is the Texas high school situation when it comes to athletic periods, developing players, a lot of good football players, a lot of great football programs that they get those kids year round. And 7-on-7 is huge. So, all these quarterbacks when they're in 6th grade, they're out there doing 7-on-7. And so it's year round. There are not many of them that are doing more than one sport. So year round, these guys are out there throwing and catching, and their skill level is just off the charts. So that's the lifeblood. Texas high school football is kind of the lifeblood of the Big 12. So all those guys are going, and they're capable. Like Buechele was one of those guys that had an unbelievable high school football career that, been slinging it around since he was 2. And skill level is off the charts. Look at all these receivers they got, from all these 6'3", 210-pound guys that can run, and they're skilled and they can catch. And so there you have it.
You mentioned their punter. Obviously, you faced a couple of Australian kids this year. Tech kid, Virginia Tech, had one. Have you been tempted to look over there at all?
Yep. Billy had a good week. He did. Our net wasn't great, but coverage has got to help him out a little bit more. I mean, I thought Billy placed it where we wanted him to for the most part. So it's good to see him kind of get back on track a little bit. But, yeah, it's been a little tempting.
Two pretty good third down defenses. What changes or what approach goes into being good offensively and being good defensively on third down?
Confidence in the calls, being creative in the calls. Both of them will do similar things when it comes to pressure. you know, having secondary guys that can hold up is important. You know, we've had some pretty good secondary play around here. Texas has a good secondary, so being able to dial up some blitzes and being multiple out of a 3 down front with the variety of people being able to cover is really important. It's similar on both sides. I was really happy with our 3rd down defense last week. I think it was 13%. You know, they're have it in front of me right here, but they're good. They're 27%, new as high. You know, just having the confidence to make those calls is big. I see 2 DCs that have confidence in making those calls right now.
So creativity, I'm assuming that extends to offense too. Are there packages like, you know, for like, not 2-point plays, but you have plays?
Yeah, I thought we were talking about defense.
Offense too.
Offense too, 3rd down offense. Ours was terrible last week. You know, they hit about the same as us. We're both at about 38, 39%, I believe, which is bottom half. Yeah, you know, it's the same thing. I mean, you got to be able to execute in tight spaces. You know, if people are going to heat you up, then you got to be able to body people and make catches. And Gary's been fantastic with that. You know, need a few more guys to be able to do that. They know we're going to Gary on 3rd and 4. You know, and he's made some big catches, but we need other guys that need to be options as well.
Danny, can you go through a couple of your seniors and your thoughts on them? And have you ever had any brothers that maybe weren't twins graduated in the same class as Kaiser and Karan?
I can't say I've ever had that. This is the end of the White era. That is sad. That's sad, although I do have a good relationship with their dad. He says there's cousins coming. That should get everybody fired up. I don't know how old they are, but you know, my two guys are Al and Eli. You guys know that. I mean, they're team captains and 5th-year seniors. Both are going to be graduating here in the next couple of months and moving on to pursue their dream of playing in the NFL. Hopefully, you know, wish them a bunch of luck for that. But those guys have been the 2 main guys, you know, with this team. You know, and then probably the next 2 guys, and I don't want to single people out because there'll be 16 other ones that are really important, but that White family is pretty special, and those guys have played a lot for us. Karan being a 3-year player and Kaiser being a 2-year player, and they've started pretty much every game since they've been here. You know, I know their family's coming back. This will be a big weekend for them. You know, just as far as the last 5 years, as many games as they've been to here for the last 5 years, and that family certainly meant a lot to me, without a doubt.